So who is coming over again?
Is that his nemesis?
Rick has a nemesis?
I guess.
Who is he? Like a magic guy? Rick's science and he's magic?
Just help me smooth this over or this guy's gonna become more trouble than he's worth.
Richard.
Let's get this over with.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory, channel 667 on your interdimensional cable box. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare your plumbus because Rick and Morty is back. And with it are our quick turn episodes analyzing all the big brain, high IQ info in each week's episode. So if you want 100 years Rick and Morty analysis, 100 years Rick and Morty 100 years, Rick and 100 years Morty, then make sure you click that subscribe button because we'll be having a few of these over the coming weeks as new episodes roll out. And I gotta say, this week's season 5 premiere was strong. The episode, titled Rick Dinner Mort Andre, you're just trying a bit too hard to work those puns in, Dan Harmon, is packed to the gills. See, that's how you work in the pun. With everything that you'd want to see out of the series. Smart sci-fi humor, fascinating new characters and world building, lots of crotch thrusting, and of course confirmation that a woman named Diane was indeed an important part of Rick's canonical backstory.
If Diane were alive today, what was she?
Don't establish canonical backstory with me!
Despite him denying it just 2 seasons ago.
You can alter anything you want about a totally fabricated origin story.
And mixed in with it all is what I predict is gonna be our thesis for the season, an outline of things to come for Rick and the rest of the family both through this 5th season, but also for what's to come next in the series. So can you do me a favor? Sign this waiver. I can't afford to have anyone dying from ecstasy tonight as we touch on the underwater adventures of Mr. Nimbus.
You're gonna say that a lot.
To truly understand today's mini-theory, let's actually start things off not with this episode, but looking back at last season's premiere. In case you've forgotten, we had Wasp Rick, Fascist Morty, and an overall theme of balance. The show had just been picked up for 70 more episodes and was going through an identity crisis. Would it retain its originally intended episodic structure where nothing really matters week over week, or would it lean into the more narratively driven serialized structure that gave rise to characters like Evil, Morty, Squanchy, and Tammy?
She died the way she lived, over-serialized.
Well, last season's premiere actually answered those questions pretty explicitly.
So I guess what we learned is to split the diff. Doing a little of this and a little of that. Yeah, sometimes we'll do classic stuff, other times we'll do whatever.
And for the rest of the season, the show delivered exactly on that promise. Some episodes were just random fun, like the Dragon episode in Snake Jazz, while others were much more steeped in the ongoing narrative, like Rick's search for friendship in The Old Man in the Seat, and the return of Clone Beth and Bird Person in the season's final episode. Additionally, there was this running meta theme of what it takes to write the show. We had episodes like The Story Train, where Rick and Morty battle through a literal version of the Dan Harmon story arc, and the Vat of Acid episode where Morty has to learn that life only matters if there are consequences to your actions. Again, an argument for serialization of the show. All of it was set up in that very first episode of the season. It was quite literally a thesis statement for all the episodes that would follow it. And watching the season 5 premiere, it feels to me like the same thing might be happening again. Now, normally this would be the point where I recap the story in the event that you missed the episode, but in a brilliant twist, I don't have to do that. The episode is available right now, right here on YouTube in its entirety. Good job, Adult Swim. Way to embrace the future of content distribution. I'm linking to the episode right now down in the description, but hopefully it'll also be showing up in the old recommended bar next to the video. Anyway, go watch that one, and then don't forget to come back and watch little old me immediately afterward. I'll be here. I'll be waiting for you. Oh, you're back. Great. Before we get into the deep analysis, I just wanted to call this little detail out. Early in the episode, we get this line.
There are suicide capsules in all of your teeth. Do what you want with that.
Now, it's a bit vague what exactly Rick means by all your teeth, like each tooth or each member of the family has one, but I did find it notable that just a few scenes later, we watch as Morty loses his tooth in a fight against Hoovy's son Japheth. And not just loses it, but the camera outright follows the tooth coming out of his mouth. Could that actually mean that it's Chekhov's tooth? We have information about capsules in teeth set up by Rick. We are then immediately followed up with a character losing a tooth. And sure, we see that same tooth floating around in the advanced Narnian civilization later in the episode, but I wouldn't be surprised if later this season, Morty is looking to use that capsule and it's not there. That sort of long-term payoff has happened in the show before to great effect, when Rick and Morty bury themselves in season 1, only for the information to pay off 2 episodes later.
On one of our adventures, Rick and I basically destroyed the whole world
world. We bailed on that reality, and we came to this one, and we buried ourselves, and we took their place.
And then pay off again in season 3.
Nobody has to know about that. We can put it right back and pretend we never saw it.
But all right, let's talk about some bigger picture stuff, shall we? At the end of the episode, we have this monologue from Jessica.
Had I lived? Was I just the object in another story? Was that all I ever was? Could I be more?
It's obviously a self-reflective meta moment for the writers as they actually give Jessica some agency as a character rather than just keeping her as the hot girl that Morty has a crush on. But I think there's more to it than that. To me, just like that closing rant from the season 4 premiere, I think this monologue serves as our thesis for season 5, being a side character in someone else's story. Of course, this would hardly be the first time that Rick and Morty's dealt with this topic. Arguably, one of the most central themes and conflicts of Rick and Morty is how Morty often feels like he's just a passenger in a story where Rick has all of the agency. But here, at the start of season 5, in an interesting role reversal, the episode starts with Rick being the passenger and Morty in control. And I mean that literally. Rick's limp and injured body is stuffed into the passenger seat, and Morty is the one who's driving him home safely. And from that opening, the rest of the episode is all about both characters as the object in someone else's story. For Morty, he's just the mysterious evil force that the Narnian society has spent generations trying to overcome. He's an object that they know nothing about, but something that compels them to keep moving forward, to keep advancing. He's a symbolic figurehead in their tale. Morty is their Jessica, except, you know, they're not aiming to make out with him. Rick and Morty's always been at its best when it forces the characters to confront the consequences of their actions, but this episode takes it one step further. The story that plays out in Narnia is a consequence of Morty's actions, but here we see it not through Morty's eyes, but from the perspective of the people it's happening to. It's a surprising and frankly great reversal on the formula to make Morty a side character in what would, in a normal episode, actually be his storyline. And because of this reversal of perspective, it forwards the theme that Jessica explicitly talks about at the end of the episode. Meanwhile, after starting the episode literally in the passenger seat, Rick, for the rest of the story, continues to be powerless thanks to Mr. Nimbus, who marches in and takes control.
Face the wrath of your once and eternal foe, Mr. Nimbus.
Sorry? Who is that?
My nemesis.
It's weird, right, that of all the adventures that we've seen Rick have over the years fighting against threats big and small, that this guy, this multi-cape wearing Aquaman wannabe, would qualify as Rick's nemesis. The one who gets the all-powerful Rick Sanchez to shut up, arrange furniture, and mop up wine. And that's because the threat that Nimbus poses appears to be emotional in nature. These two go back, way back to parts of Rick's backstory that the series and Rick himself have been really shy to talk about.
If Diane were alive today, what was she?
Don't f***ing establish canonical backstory with me, because you're an embarrassment to me, and I don't need you anymore. I don't need anybody.
Well, maybe you hate me because I am the only man to see how far you have fallen. I used to fear you, respect you. Now all that's left is pity for a sad, drunk shell of a man, too afraid to see how alone he truly is.
In the same way that Bird Person and Squanchy were able to get Rick to lower his guard, Nimbus understands Rick in only the way that a former friend can.
Richard, before you were my greatest enemy, you were my only friend.
After all, the ultimate nemesis is someone who truly understands you, who knows your strengths and your weaknesses, who knows the things that make you happy and the things that cause you pain. That person could be your greatest ally or your greatest enemy. And this continues a theme that we've been seeing play out more and more in these episodes, the slow devastation of Rick Sanchez. He's saved not just once, but twice in this one episode. Once by Morty in the cold open, and once by Nimbus at the end when his mechanical implants get ripped out by cybernetic birds. And it's easy to overlook, but this is actually the third episode in a row where he's had to have been saved by Jerry and Beth in the season 4 finale, and Morty and Summer in the episode before that. He's broken down to the point of flinching when Space Beth threatens to punch him. Rick can't claim
If God exists, it's f***ing me!
anymore. The show is constantly removing his godlike powers now. He's weak, he's lonely, and he's losing everyone around him. He's quite literally becoming an object in someone else's story, as everyone else realizes that they don't need him anymore. Not Beth,
Well, I was impressed, Dad. He saved my life, no thanks to you.
not Morty,
Hey, I don't know how much I can help out tonight, Rick. Jessica's coming over, just to, like, watch a movie or something.
all he has left at this point is Summer, who for the second consecutive time ruins a season premiere.
Get out of here, Summer! You ruined the season 4 premiere! Season 4 premiere, you ruined it!
Grandpa, I got the shell.
Betrayal!
My weapon!
Wait, Grandpa, what do I do? I have the shell. Should I blow it?
Hey, destroy the horn!
What the hell,
You were
Summer?
supposed to destroy the horn!
And that is where I think the season's headed. Rick sidelined, constantly beaten down by friends, by family, by the world. A devastated, broken, and lonely man who once acted like a god, but now serves as a background character in the show that bears his name. An object brought along for the ride. Or not. Because if we know Rick, we know that he's too prideful to accept that. He doesn't want to be helped. He doesn't want to admit weakness. As Morty becomes stronger and more confident, Rick is trending the other way, and I expect this to push their relationship to the breaking point. This is the season where Rick and Morty break up, or at least is the one that sets the table for it. Where Morty stands up and no longer wants to be a passive character in Rick's adventures, or alternatively, where Rick, refusing to accept his weakness, rejects everyone else so he can be alone and prove that he doesn't need anyone else. It's also interesting because all of this forwards the ongoing theory that we talked about last year that Morty becomes Rick. We already see it happening. Morty saving the day, Morty going into other worlds and devastating them with high-tech weaponry alone, Morty striking out on his own adventures. He's doing everything that Rick used to do. He's becoming the main character of the show, dragging Grandpa along for the ride. So there you have it. The season arc, as I predict, laid out by Jessica's monologue. Last thing I'll say about this episode, congratulations to the writers for showing some self-restraint. Here's an entire storyline about Jerry and Beth looking for some Friday Night Funkin' with King of Atlantis, Mr. Nimbus.
Totally optional, but a remarkable option to have, I assure you. Very jealous.
And they don't make a crabs joke, or chlamydia, or syphilis? That is gold right there for the taking. Anyway, will I be right? Will I be wrong? Who knows? All I do know is that it's great to have something to look forward to every Sunday night. So make sure you click that subscribe button to join me for future dives into everything the show has to offer. And always remember, it's just a theory. A film theory. And cut.